was being committed to making sure that people actually get the tools that they need to transform themselves. And I want to spend the rest of the time talking to you about transformation. Not just temporary change, but transformation. In fact, I've dedicated myself so much to this. It's such a big fundamental shift. I've created a website, WidenerLeadership.com, and we're putting new stuff up there just about transformational stuff. And I want to share with you some of the ideas that I've been conceptualizing, and some of them are ideas that maybe you've heard before, but I want to give you a new little twist on it. One of my favorite quotes of all time is people need to be reminded more than they've been instructed. So you might get some instruction today, but some of what you're going to hear today is going to be reminders. You're going to say, I've heard that before, but the big question is are you doing it? In fact, you're going to see me do this regularly today. I'm going to hold up the mirror. I'm going to teach you a little something, and I'm going to hold up the mirror. And that's time for you to look in the mirror and say, am I actually doing that? Have I actually implemented that? Am I actually doing the things that I need to do to see that kind of life transformation? So here's the premise. If you can write this down, write it down. If you want to memorize it, it's short, you can memorize it. But this is the fundamental premise of everything I'm teaching from this point forward. It's one of the greatest success principles of all time. It was written thousands of years ago. It was written in Greek. Here's what it says. Do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I love that because it sets up the difference and then it gives you the way to do it. Let's go through it again. Do not be conformed to the patterns of the world, but be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. Service is the third. Transformational people. Most people are conforming to the pattern of the world and they're just living for themselves. All they do is just live for themselves. They're thinking about me all the time. How can I get what I want? How can I, it's all about me. Transformational leaders. They're people who serve. They say, I'm going to not just think about myself, I'm going to think about other people. Zig Ziglar said you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want out of life. When all of a sudden you leave this place and you go out and you say, I'm not going to be like everybody else. See, everybody else is always figuring out, how can I get for myself? Transformational people. They're saying to themselves, how can I help other people get what they want out of life? And in doing so, we get whatever we want. But when you say to yourself, when you're willing to accept the responsibility, when you're willing to look at yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what you weigh, how much money you make, what your relationships are like, what your marriage is like, all that stuff, when you're willing to say, where I am today is the sum of the choices I've made up until now, you gather power. It's difficult sometimes, especially if we're not where we want to be, but you gather power. And you put it into the engine, it becomes the fuel. Because if it's true that where we are today is the sum of the choices we've made up until now, then what is also true? What is also true is that wherever we want to go simply becomes what? The sum of the choices that we make from here on out. So it doesn't matter where you are today. You can be wherever you want to be. Transformation is not about where you are now. It's about where you want to be and how to get there. Make the goal not just what you do for yourself, but what you do for other people, because other people are attracted to people who care for them, who consider others' interests more important than their own. The greatest book on influence of all time, and a lot of what I talk about when I'm in my speeches and my book, The Art of Influence, is Dale Carnegie's old book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great book. If you haven't read it, read it. He says that the sweetest sound on anybody's ear is what? Their name. Why? Because they want to know that somebody cares. They want to know that somebody's thinking about them. They want to know that somebody's interested. If you want to be a great leader, it's good to be interesting. It's far better to be interested. Don't just be interesting, be interested. Be interested in what other people are doing, what their life is like, what their dreams are, what their goals are, what their visions are, and then go to work to help them get it. And the last one is excellence. Conformists are average. Conformists, they do enough to get by. Conformists, they say, it's good enough. That's what conformists do. They conform to the pattern of the world, and the pattern of the world is average. The pattern of the world is mediocre. The pattern of the world just says, what's enough to get by? Transformational leaders say, I'm committed, dedicated, devoted in every single area of my life to excel. Here's the deal. Excellence is attractive. People who are excellent in their lives attract other people. You want to have influence in the lives of other people? You want to gain trust, respect, admiration, and loyalty from other people? Up your game in every single area of your life. Take care of your physical body, and get in shape and, get rid of the 50s hairdo. And guys, trim your nose hairs. I mean, this is not good. But deeper than that, get emotionally healthy, get intellectually growing. Deepen yourself spiritually. Be the kind of person who other people look and say, that person is excellent. I'd love to do business with that person. I'd love to have the life that that person has. And it attracts. So about a year ago, I began to think through this whole process of what I call transformational leadership. What does it mean to not just hear something, but to actually transform, to really change? And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to actually transform, how to make it so that this isn't just an event where you get excited for 2 or 3 days, but the lessons that you learn, they get inside of you, and they take root inside of you, and they change you, and they move you, so that a week from now, 4 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 1 year from now, your life is actually different.